what's going on, YouTubers? EXO coming at you here, surprisingly happy for what we've got on the schedule for today. Got some bad news, guys. We blew the alternator inside the Silver Devil. Oh my gosh, driving down the highway the other day, just slamming on 1,000 watts, poof. The alternator goes up in smoke, no power steering, no brake assist. I had to stop at AutoZone on the way back home just to get some charge on the batteries because she was dead. So in this video, we are going to replace it with a nice, ooh, got a message. We are gonna replace it with a nice high output option from Iraggi alternators, even though it's a little bit girly because it was originally intended for my girlfriend.
Oh, my alternator.
Look at that.
It is my favorite color.
It's baby blue, but who cares? It'll do just the trick for what we need it for today. Creep. Holy crap, she's a little bit dirty, fellas, and what the heck is all this stuff right here? You can kind of rub it off like a powder. The same thing is happening to this big Nissan, and it's brand freaking new. And in some places, it gets pretty chunky. I don't know if I should remove this or if I should just leave it as it is. I'll wait to hear from you guys, because I don't want to cause more problems than it's worth. You know what I'm saying? But dang, there's got to be a way to correct or at least prevent that from happening, right? But for the most part, what we've got to work with is really simple. Mechanical tensioner will undo that thing, get this alternator right out of there. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is crack loose that bottom bolt on the housing just so nothing is stuck when we release the tension, and hopefully the belt will just become looser and looser as we back it off. No! Hopefully a little more leverage will do the trick here, just to bust her loose a little. There we go. You can see I'm not gonna fully back it off, but now it won't be stuck. I'm gonna do the same exact thing for the top bolt, but it's kind of hard to see. You can see it poking out just underneath that tensioner bolt, and we'll crack that loose as well. So that way when we do release the tension on that bolt, it'll slowly creep out instead of being stuck. Come on, baby, one-handed. Oh yeah, holding this camera and doing this at the same time is a pain in the butt. So I'm gonna leave it about a half turn backed off. Now we should be able to take this fella right here and start backing the tension off real time. See what I'm saying? And there we go. We'll go ahead and do this a couple more turns. You can see the bracket separating from the ear of the alternator, the housing. Now I'll finish loosening up that bottom bolt. I think that did it. Nope, can't do it by hand yet. Damn it. Oh, it's teasing me. It's teasing me. It's going. Oh, I just gotta wiggle her. She's loose. Yes. Man, I am serious. I just spent like 7 minutes doing that one bolt. My back is broken. All right, let's get this out. There we go. I think I'm just gonna leave that for right now, and then we'll see if we need to remove it completely. Alternator should just come right out. See all that slack that we just got out of that, and then we'll shove it over the edges. Bam, and there we go. A freed up alternator. She's wedged in there real good. Woo! It's this white coating. That white coating, I swear, it's doing a number. Looks like this bracket is coming off. Oh, yes, I think I'm getting it. Take her from the top one more time. Come on, baby. Oh, there she is. I think we got her. Yes, freaking finally. Goodness gracious. Good old stock Mama Jamba. It did pretty well considering there was a 3,000 watt amplifier originally installed in this. This took the brood of all that work and then some. Now we just got a 1,000 watt, so I'm pretty surprised that this thing blew the big old puff of smoke on us. finally conquered the beast, and we are ready to introduce you to the new Glamour Shots 2011 Corolla. Oh, it's a 320 amp. It's not just a 300, I'm dropping it. Holy crap. Whew. So let's show you the before and after of some of the things that you get when you go high output. Not only is she decorated, and then some. Take a look at that stud. Copper stud, so much bigger than stock, and a smaller overdrive pulley, which means we need a different belt, a slightly smaller belt for our car. Since this has a larger circumference, it takes a larger belt to go around it. A smaller circumference pulley means it's gonna be spinning more, but it needs a smaller belt. Looks like this car takes a 49 1/8 inch belt from end to end. It's about 7.5 inches for that pulley, and then we'll wrap it around this pulley. Holy smokes, that is a lot smaller. About 5.5 inches. So I think subtracting 2 inches down to 47 will be just perfect.
Leave a kayak on this. How may I help you?
Hey there, I have a quick question about a part if you have it in stock. It's a 47-inch 6-rib Serpentine belt.
See, I don't have it in stock, but I do got something similar.
And what brand is that?
Continental.
We'll see. I've never used this brand before, but hopefully she does just a trick. I mean, it's a belt. Wow, how can you really fail on a belt, really?
I'm a simple man, don't wanna complicate ya. I'm a simple man.
We'll start fishing the belt back through according to the diagram, the same way that we took it off. We're gonna put it right back on. Wrapped nice and securely around all the pulleys, and the excess is waiting for us. Go. She's looking beautiful. That blue is so bright. My camera almost doesn't know what to do with it. So let's go ahead and check this tension here. Yeah, look at that. That's gonna go over nice and smoothly. Check this out. Come on, baby. I hate doing one-handed stuff, but look at that. Nice and secure. And we got all the holes lined up. Now we just gotta put the bolts in. This freaking bolt of death right here. This was a pain in the butt. I'm gonna try to get some of this residue off because I feel like that's really binding things up. So hopefully it'll be a lot easier going back in. Just a little something like that. I'm not trying to go crazy with it, but this will definitely make a difference. Hey, look who, oh my gosh! The sunlight just revealed something that I just did. Oh, look at my, can you tell what I did? Look at my lens. Does it look bad from up there?
Do you have paint on it?
Oh no, does it look that bad? We'll get that going with the rest of the tools. And there we go, a dry mock-up ready to be tightened down. We're gonna tighten everything just until the very last little bit so we can actually move the alternator down this little rail and get the perfect tension for our belt. Man, gotta love that 16th of a turn out of time life, huh? God. I don't know how long I've been doing this, but my back is breaking. I don't know how I can remedy this. Oh, I must look so ridiculous right now. Hey, cat. Still going at it, and we still got that much more to go. All right, frickin' finally, we got her all the way in, well, except for that little tiny little bit, so she's still able to move relatively freely for this thing to do its job. And here we are, ready to tighten up our belt with the mechanical tensioner. This will put the alternator in a spot that's nice and tight for the belt and nice and strong for the bracket. And I can already feel it tightening up right there, and I can start to see the angle of the dangle shifting. One more quarter turn, and I'm gonna call that good. So now I'm gonna anchor the alternator just below the tensioner, tighten that onto the ear, real good. Oh yeah, there's the tension. Set. Now we just gotta crank in the bottom and then we'll be in business. Holy crap, you guys, I just noticed a damn near catastrophic mistake. I didn't realize that I was snagged on a little piece of metal sticking out from my engine block on my Serpentine belt. So I just fixed the mistake. We got the tensioner back and ready to go, but oh my gosh, that could have been a real pain in the butt. Freaking shred my belt to pieces before we can even have fun with it. Oh gosh, always double check your work, man. So if you guys noticed that while you were watching the video, thanks for leaving a comment. Hopefully you made it this far in the video to see I actually caught the problem as well. But since we're losing our daylight, we definitely gotta crank things out a little faster here. So let's get the electrical side of things all finished up too. Let's get this stud taken care of, nice and fat. Oh no, nice and fat. Oh crap, this may take a little bit longer than I want. Is this gonna fit? Absolutely not. Oh, goodness gracious. Aftermarket post, you're great, but you suck at the same time. So what are we gonna do? We gotta ream this thing out. We're gonna do a reverse drill action with our bit and get a nice gauge on this hole. Actually, wait, I forgot that I have these little step bits to use, and I think this may be a heck of a lot easier. These are Harbor Freight specials, but ordinarily, these are ungodly expensive, but they sell them somehow for like 2 cents for 3. It's ridiculous. I'm exaggerating, but it's very cheap and you get 3 of them, and I don't know how they do it. This is working so much better than using a drill. I'm glad I got these, man. You just gotta watch your eyes. I close my eyes pretty much when I use these. I've seen horror stories of these bits exploding, so be careful. Oh yeah, like butter, nice. And I am ready to put the hardware back on. Now I can already hear all the people just laying into me. Why are you just putting the stock wiring? Why aren't you doing the big 3, big 0 gauge wires? You know what I mean? Well, that's gonna be another video. This was just literally to get me driving again because this just happened to me. So I wanted to, here I'm doing the harness here. I wanted to take care of the problem, so I will do the rest of the upgrading after we get it back and running. So we are gonna be in good shape. I dropped that little thing down there somewhere. I gotta go fishing for the little cap for the positive. Go ahead and tighten this thing back down. Don't overdo it. Oh, I found it. There she is. Pop that right back on. There we go. It's a little bit taller of a standoff, but it works. Now we'll just reconnect our positive wire with these janky freaking Walmart specials. They're rusting out like crazy. I really got to address that. The copper to copper is doing fine, but holy crap, it looks like we live by the sea. We'll redo all the hardware when we do the big 3. So if you want to see the big 3, give me a nice comment, say big 3, big 3. We'll redo every single bit of this. Well, before we button everything up and finalize it, we should probably test it, huh? Test the voltage, see if the alternator's working after all this time, and our installation today. I am excited. Are you ready? Here we go. We got power for battery. The dashboard is illuminated, so let's... She's running. Sounds good. Let's go ahead and check the voltage. We are at 13.7 volts. Awesome. And my batteries, I will admit, were very low. I'll be anxious to know what they're clamping right now. All right, so right now at idle, oh yeah, see, it's pumping out 100 amps and the car isn't even doing anything. The system isn't even playing. So let's go ahead and turn it off. We know that the alternator is working. This is not a healthy thing to do to an alternator. There's no reason to use your alternator to charge your batteries. There's a huge misconception, and I even added to it trying to solve the misconception the last time I brought it up. I made a designated video, and even that still confused people. Yes, alternators do charge your batteries, but it's not healthy for them to do it. you could run a marathon, but you may keel over at the 3-mile mark. There's a purpose for everything, and an alternator's purpose is just to maintain it. It's not meant to charge it all the damn way from dead. And what's good about a charger is that it knows how to charge your batteries, and it goes through cycles of ramping up voltage and ramping it down. It won't just dump tons of amperage into your battery, and that makes it a much safer environment for your batteries and, in return, your alternators, because these have already been taken care of before you turn the key. We got a constant 31 amps going into the battery right now, and we are at 12.7. There's no reason why this shouldn't be rising above 13 volts when you put an initial rush of 30 amps into it. At full charge, this should easily go above 13 and then dip back down when the charge source isn't there anymore. Oh my gosh, see what I'm talking about? I just turned the charger off. It's dipping back down into a dead battery range, you know what I'm saying? So the voltage will ramp up over a series of hours and go back down, and it will keep it pretty happy over a period of time. Coming at you here the next morning, just to connect a few more dots for you, we're gonna start the engine again after fully charging our batteries overnight. So we have a resting voltage a lot different than when we saw a few moments ago. Now we are at 12.9 even while the charger is off. So this is a nice fully charged battery. Disconnect our big alligators and go ahead and see what our amperage draw will be from our alternator and what our voltage will be. All right, purring like a kitten. And we are at, check it out, 14.3. Nice. So damn near 5/10 higher than last night. And I'll show you the amperage draw coming from 100 amps last night, and we are at 20 amps. So we have 2 happy batteries. When they were dead, they were sucking so much juice, as much as they could possibly take in. And that's not healthy for either or, the alternator or the battery. So we're dropping down even more. So this is great. 14.3 volts. Can't get much better than that, guys. I'd say that's a job well done. Ready for some basin and aftermarket mayhem. So until the next video, this is EXO fixing problems, getting amperage pumping, and for getting tools underneath the hood. I will talk to you in the next video. This is EXO signing out.